edition, not only is it a party, but it's a very kind of special party because it's May the 4th. What is May the 4th? Oh, da 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 da. Whoa, we've all seen that, haven't we? I mean, I heard there's one girl that told me one day that she hadn't seen it. Yeah, those movies. I know there's like 25. I don't know how you can actually not have seen any of the Star Wars because there's like so many. So there's the 6 first ones that were kind of done in a weird order, meaning like the first are the last are the first. Oh, that was complicated and confusing. And then, well, after the Star Wars, I mean, you got all of the other episodes. Like you got Andor, you got The Mandalorian. Oh my, they made like prequels for all of these. Then you have like this guy who's a stormtrooper. You have the new girl that's not Princess Leia. I mean, it's a whole franchise. Now that Disney purchased it, it's crazy. But because we are May the 4th, on the day of this recording, yes, we are gonna talk about May the Charge be with you. I mean, the same but different. May the Charge is just like May the 4th. It's because Star Wars is such a big thing for geeks all over the world. Now, if you're a Trekkie, please put your Trekkie years somewhere else, because the thing is, this episode is gonna be fully and only concentrating on Star Wars. Because the Star Wars Day, if you have a date for the Trek Day, well, or the Trekkie Day, make sure you input it in a comment. We'll talk about it next time, because I'm Piper, and welcome to the podcast that's called While You Wait. For your EV to charge, you listen to it to get information on innovation, futuristic things, sci-fi. Yeah! All in 1 hour and a half. It starts at 12 p.m. Vancouver time, yes, because I'm broadcasting live from Vancouver. If you miss it, don't be sad. You can always listen to it later in our podcast playlist on our channel, 2 Girl, 1 Electric Car. Until then, may the charge be with you. If you're not feeling very charged, because, well, maybe you haven't had your coffee yet. Maybe it would be kind of time to have a little snack or something. Well, just know that there are 2 sides of the force. And one of them includes peanut butter and the other one includes jam. Now, some of them, they want both. And other people, well, they just want to eat breakfast. Carl says, I finally got it open. Well, hey, Carl, thanks for tuning in. It's quite easy to open it. I mean, if you're here in the visual sense of the world and the world and the word, well, you might see that I'm arborating some Princess Leia features. Just for this special occasion of May the 4th be with you. That being said, I'll let you kind of guess what are my features so that you can actually watch the live video format and not just be here with your ears. If you're driving, don't do that though. I know those of you who have Teslas like to listen and watch to me while they're charging. Now, but if you're not driving, this is fine. Well, we have Scotty Landon who just dropped in. Hey, Scotty, happy to see you. So you need to guess, the people were there. What am I wearing or doing with myself that makes me look like Princess Leia? Because it is May the 4th be with you. YouTube was not finding you after the notification. Well, that is funny because actually this live podcast, well, is the only one that there is right here right now. So maybe it just took a little bit of time to send a notification and then for it to kind of get back there. Ooh. You can always go on the channel page, our main channel, which calls 2 Girls, 1 Electric Car, and then go in the live tab. There's a tab that's called live. You click on it and you'll see which live video is actually being aired at this time. If there are none, you'll see all the previous live that we've done. They're available in video or in podcast format. Woohoo! Okay, Max Power is starting to play. Let's play this game and may the 4th be with you. Your bra. Yes, I am wearing a bra. It's a special bra. It's a Slave Leia bra. The one she wore when she was captured by Jabba the Hutt. But it is, I censored it. Don't worry, YouTube, I censored it. Meaning I got like a whole turtleneck underneath it. You know why I did this? Because I actually saw that guy Deadpool? Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Well, he put the Princess Leia costumes, like Slave Leia, on top of his Deadpool outfit. And I was like, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do, to keep this channel right on point. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Piper, and you're listening to While You Wait for your EV to charge. We aim to entertain and inform you on the latest latest EV technology, we're gonna go a bit more sci-fi because it is May the 4th be with you. So for all of you Star Wars fanatics out there, this is the perfect time, for all of your references, pop culture, all of the title of the movies, I want puns, people, I want puns. Oh yeah! So make sure you drop them in the comment section. Come on, you can do it. The thing is, I have another special Star Trek feature on myself. Get it? I said Star Trek. It's not Star Trek! I told you, we're doing Star Wars. So you need to get out of the Star Trek habitat that you're in right now. We're only talking about Star Wars. So I have another Star Wars feature on myself. Can you figure it out? You got some time, people. You got some time. While I talk about this, well, let me give you a little bit of history on May the 4th, so that you understand where we're going with this whole entire podcast that will last an hour and a half. So make sure you grab something to drink, something to eat, or maybe a girlfriend. I have no idea. Invite a friend. There's a little share arrow right underneath this video. You click it. Bam! Within 2 clicks, you share with another individual who maybe loves Star Wars as much as you do. Or you're trying to convert them to the Dark Force. I mean, that works too. So, of course, May the 4th is really big for Star Wars fans. Why? I have no idea. Quite frankly, it could have been any other date, but it's just because it sounds like and looks like... Oh, just dropped my pen. That's what you heard. Like, may the force be with you. So, force, fourth. I mean, somebody got really creative there. And then May, like the month of May, it works in French too, kind of, sort of. I mean, May is the same word in French and in English, but not so much. That being said, every May 4th, it is May the 4th. And then people all over do memes and puns about Star Wars all over the internet.
When did it start?
I don't know. So that's the thing. I did a little bit of researches. If you guys know when it started, I think the first Star Wars movie was in 1977.
Yeah, but when it was official.
Yeah, when did it become like an actual official day? I have no idea. So if you know when May the 4th became an actual national holiday, well, you tell us right there in the comment section. We want to know. And well, we also want to know, what do you do on May the 4th? Do you do something weird? I mean, do you and your girlfriend kind of, roll that thing? I mean, are you a stormtrooper? What are you? Are you Princess Leia? Are you like Han Solo? What do you wear? What do you do on May the 4th? Do you just take those memes off of the internet and repost on Reddit? Are you that type of person? Now drop it in the comment because I can't wait to see what my fans think about May the 4th. The thing is, on Two Girls, One Electric Car, well, we do talk about things that are kind of futuristic, I mean, the future is now, but we talk about technology. We talk about this new technology that is electric vehicle, which is kind of the newest one out there right now. So it just made a lot of sense that we were gonna mix the two together. Sci-fi, innovation, futurism, and of course, a little bit of fun, because that's always very well appreciated. Max Power says, just don't say Luke. Well, you shouldn't have written Max, because of course I'm gonna say it. If you write it down, I mean, I read all of the comments. That's why we have this amazing podcast that airs live every time, so that you can, be here with me and we can talk about it in that super cool way. Okay, now Star Wars Day. There's a lot of Star Wars movie. I know some of you actually are probably freaking out more on the older version. Some have freaked out on the Mandalorian and all that. Now, which one is your favorite? Tell me. It's your time to shine. And it's time for debate too. So if you want to fight, yeah, that's soon. So which one is your favorite Star Wars so far? Like, what do you love the most about Star Wars? Come on, we've got people here. Get typing. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you're just like, oh, Piper, it's Saturday, so we're lazy. We're not typing in the live comment section. But you need to type. You need to type. And if you're there visually, well, you also need to tell me until the end of this episode, what else do I orberate that looks like Princess Leia? Because so far I've got the bra, yes, but I've got something else. You clearly need to find the dark side. Do you think I'm like more of the dark side? Well, we'll have a little poll on that later. I think this should be quite interesting. Are you dark or light? Electric vehicles and Star Wars. Of course, that's what we're gonna talk about because the whole channel is about EVs. Meaning, well, that most of the things that happen in science fiction, well, they kind of became reality at one point. Or they are sort of the seeding ground for real life implementations. Yes. So don't go to Star Trek, like I said, stay on Star Wars. But that's a thing that we need to talk about, like how Star Wars might have affected how we do things and innovate right now in 2024, since the first movie was in 1977. Imagine that! It's been a while, and then there's been a whole bunch of Star Wars, and all of these Star Warses have definitely influenced the generations and made them have ideas to create new amazing things and technologies. So this is crazy. Join the dark side, we have cookies. That is such a great selling point. I mean, cookies. Everybody loves cookies. Why would I not join the dark side? If you guys got cookies, I mean, that beats, doing like saber things, missing an arm, and all of these other joyful things that happen on the dark side.
So scout girls on the dark side?
Oh, so there's scout girls on the dark side. That means, yeah, definitely, because I mean, join the dark side. We have cookies. You need somebody to sell the cookies. Yeah. So scout girls. Scout girls? Okay. Carl says, from some time ago, I discovered the power of the Piper side. Oh, yeah. That is good for you, Carl. Once you go Piper, you can't go back. You will follow everything she does and everywhere she goes. So science fiction, well, does really influence like real world innovation. I mean, all of these ideas that were literally into Star Wars, well, some of them might have actually become reality, or influenced the way our world is right here, right now. So do you have some ideas on how Star Wars might have influenced the way we live right here, right now? In this like society of ours, have you seen something? Do you think that maybe, just maybe, Star Wars, if Star Wars wasn't, some things we would not have? Imagine that. I know it's very philosophical and all that, because this is While You Wait, the podcast that aims to entertain you and will bring you some electrifying fun during the weekend too, because this is weekend edition. Okay, let's have a little poll. Are you in the dark side or the light side? Are you on the three dots of the force? And we're gonna say dark side, light side. And we'll see who of you is gonna get which color lightsaber today. Did you hear that about the lightsaber? That they said that actually it was some guys like holding bamboo sticks to get that. I don't know if that's true though, but that was kind of interesting. So Carl says,
Star Wars kid. What happened to him?
Hey, that's true. What happened to the Star Wars kid? Is he still around? I mean, did he do Mandalorian kid? Is that what happened to him? What does he think about the newer Star Wars? Yeah, Star Wars kid. Well, what's up with Star Wars kid? Do you have information about the Star Wars kid? Maybe we need to put that on a milk cart or something. Okay. Oh. Carl says there are firearms now that have the colors of the Star Wars weapon. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Then some YouTubers were literally gonna be doing some crazy lightsaber things. I mean, I've seen it. You probably have seen it. They tried to recreate the lightsaber in real life. So cool. But then, how does all of that like communicate to, well, us in real life, in our transportation, in, well, the things we use, because most of us don't use weapons. I mean, in that sense, it's cool, but we don't. So light side, dark side. Which one of my okay, lots of my fans are going for the dark side right now. Okay. So that being said, we have 80% of people who tune in to While You Wait for their EV to charge or for their dark side to become lighter. 80% of people are on the dark side. Well, who's on the dark side and why are they on the dark side? This is crazy. Oh, Max Power has something really good. He says video calls. Yeah, you remember in the first Star Wars when like R2-D2, he kind of has this message of Princess Leia, and then it just kind of appear as a the hologram. And then she says she's in danger. Oh, and then Anakin, he sees it, and then they go save her. And that's pretty much the thing. So that being said, I mean, video calls, maybe FaceTime was kind of... Huh? It's Luke who saw the...
Was not there.
It was too young? Yeah, I know.
So Luke saw the message.
So Luke saw the message
With Obi-Wan.
with Obi-Wan. Okay. And then he was like, okay.
Just in case someone back.
Yes, definitely. I want people to bash me in the comment. That's what this is for. I'm a Trekkie, full disclosure. Okay, so video calls would have been inspired by Star Wars with the holographic actual, well, calls that they had there. I mean, video is kind of close, like closest thing to holographic for now. We'll see later if we do get this kind of holographic aspect to our video calls, which is quite interesting. Okay, so 80% of our actual listeners here on this podcast, well, are on the dark side of the Force. Great to know that you don't like kids just like me. Remember what happened? Yeah. There were no more. Okay, Carl says, oh, I just thought of something. There is a Star Wars prop here in town. It is one of the space fighters. Really? So you have like a whole Star Wars prop in your town? How does that work? Is it like in the park for everybody to touch and see? Or is it in a museum or at the Mary? I don't know. This is crazy. May the charge be with you. Yes, I'm Piper and we're talking about May the Fourth be with you. So Star Wars in relation to every futuristic advancement that we have had in concern of electric vehicles and pretty much anything related to EVs or just vehicles in general. Yes, it's the weekend edition of the podcast while you wait for your EV to charge. We're going to talk about Star Wars. Why? Because it's that day today. And so far my fans are on the dark side. This is good to know. There is a science center here, and okay, so Carl says that at the science center there's the space fighter. So cool. So interesting. Okay, bam. What are the parallels between Star Wars and, well, our world? But again, we need to talk about vehicles. So let's see. Name a few Star Wars vehicles that you've seen. Yes, they can be spaceship, they can be any type of vehicle. So what vehicles are there in Star Wars? Are you a real like Star Wars fanatic? Then now would be your time to really shine. I mean, you could use all this superpower in the comment section to be like, woo, I'm the best here. The real OG, yeah. Now, I have a few of them here on my cue cards that I've researched before this. So, parallel between Star Wars vehicle and the modern day vehicles. We had the speeder bikes. So, there's speeder bikes. Those were in Star Wars. If I Google it, speeder bikes, we're going to go see what they look like. So, speeder bikes are like the super long bikes that look a bit like motorcycles. But these things actually would, you know, they kind of weird. They're kind of weird. Let me go in images. And they're super long. So that's more in the beginning of the Star Wars. But they don't have wheels. They literally fly. Yeah, they literally fly. So if you are aware of what a speed biker is, or sorry, speeder bike. I guess you could call the speed biker the guy that rides it. So these are the ones that are all in white. You know those guys? Yeah. Those guys that always miss. Well, they're on the speeder bikes. The speeder bikes, I guess, look a lot like motorcycles in that sense. Don't worry, Midnight Smoke. It's all cool that you are all here. So we are talking about vehicles that you can find in Star Wars, but we're trying to find their in real life counterpart. Like speeder bikes might be closely related to motorcycles, or even Sea-Doos or Ski-Doos, or things like that. The thing is, in Star Wars, they do fly. Yeah, they literally fly. They're more like, you know, the army has built some of those vehicles that are aeronautic. So they have like, they maintain a pocket of air, underneath them to make them sort of fly, but they can't go really, really high. That way, it's easier to navigate, well, I guess, on the water. And even Mr. Beast tested some of those weird vehicles in one of his videos. I saw that one. It was crazy. That being said, the motorcycles that we have right now, they're more like on the route. And then, we have the Sea-Doos, which would be motorcycles for the water, or jet skis, as you call them in English. And then, you would have for the actual snow, which is really popular here in Canada, snowmobiles. Yeah. Max Power says, is your hair the other Star Wars reference? Yes, it is! Congratulations! So you have found my 2 Star Wars reference in this amazing podcast called While You Wait. May the charge be with you today. Well, so I wear space buns. So this type of hairstyle is actually called space bun. And it does resemble a lot what Carrie Fisher was wearing or was doing when she was Slave Leia. In, that Star Wars movie. Midnight Smoke says, there is a quad bike. It's like a big drone that you can ride like a motorcycle. Oh, okay. Amazing. So that being said, right now we have 2 possible Star Wars vehicles that have real life implementation. That means motorcycles, ski-doos or snowmobiles, jet skis, all of those can be EV powered. They can be electric vehicles nowadays. I mean, I've seen some EV motorcycles. Do we have EV jet skis? Probably. I mean, is there EV jet skis? Is that a thing?
Electric jet skis?
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
EV jet skis. EV jet skis. I think it's a thing. So nowadays, 100% électrique. So meaning that all of these 25 grand for an electric jet ski.
Yeah.
25 grand. 25 grand for an electric jet ski. Now you know, people. Max Power. What? 40?
Range 2 hours.
Range 2 hours.
It takes 40 minutes to charge.
It takes 40 minutes to charge, and it has 2 hours of fun time in the water sports.
It's enough.
Well, 2 hours of jet ski is enough, I think. I think it's enough. You kind of anyway a jet ski, much like one of the. Yeah, it's pricey, Carl. Yeah, definitely. But much like a comedian said, the jet ski is so weird because you always get back to where you were. I think it's Seinfeld who said that in an interview on Jimmy Kimmel or something like that. He was like, you know what? I hate jet skiing because you're not really going anywhere. You're going somewhere, but you're coming back there. You know, you always need to come back there because you're going in the water. You're not going to stay in the water. In that sense, it was funny.
It's a normal jet ski. It's 15 grand.
Oh, so a normal
You got 14.
normal jet ski is $15,000, and then that EV jet ski would be $25,000. Meaning there's a big difference.
Ultra kind of thing at
Oh. Of course, there's some ultra jet skis that are gasoline powered that are, $22,000. So meaning it really depends. If you're going for like crazy electric, yeah, it is still pricier in that sense. Now,
buy it.
you would buy it. Yeah.
Electric one?
Yeah, because it's easy. You just charge it. So you have your jet ski, you have your Cybertruck, and you charge it.
Oh yeah, you can.
Super easy. So you, while you're riding, while you're bringing the jet ski to the water, you got 40 minutes to charge it, and then you just charge it in your Cybertruck, I guess, and then it's good to go again. So this is perfect. Okay, what else has a parallel to in real life? So we talked about the speeder bikes. Carl talked about the the quad-like bike. So a quad bike. So that was from Midnight Smoke. Is there an electric Sea-Doo now? Yes, there is. There's an electric Sea-Doo. There's an electric snowmobile. There's electric everything now. They're just a bit on this, pricier side. We have also land speeders. Let's Google this one. Land speeders. Land speeders Star Wars. So land speeders are a bit. It's not like a motorcycle. It's more like a car that flies. Yeah, that we don't yet have. I mean, a land speeder, I wouldn't say we have that for real yet. I think that would be kind of closer possibly to, yes, one of these aeronautic, one of these little car buggies that has a air chamber underneath and that pushes air so that it can stay up, but it doesn't go like really high in the sky, you know, it stays up, but it doesn't really fly in that way. So that,
When I was a kid.
you had a land speeder when you were a kid? Toy format? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So all of these actual like vehicles that we see in Star Wars, well, they have maybe been invented for sci-fi, so science fiction. They were all like brought up by an idea, but then maybe some people got really inspired by that and created some of the vehicles that are on our roads today. So try to find other ones. This is a game, people. Yeah, it's the weekend edition of While You Wait, the podcast that brings you electrifying news about electric vehicle or goes back down to memory lane to talk about Star Wars. May the charge be with you while you charge your EV.
38 million views.
Star Wars Kid has 38 million views. Billion or million?
Million.
38 million views on
I
YouTube.
think the channel's not monetized.
Oh, the channel's not monetized? Oh, he should have monetized it back then, but that was not even a thing. Monetization was not a thing back then.
He got 5K subscribers. That channel.
He has only 5,000 subscribers?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And Star Wars
What?
Kid, 18 years ago we posted that.
18 years ago? Star Wars Kid. Do you remember Star Wars Kid? Well, I mean, I don't know what he does. So, if 18 years ago? That's a while back. That's a while back. Where were you 18 years ago?
He sued the school and now he's a lawyer.
He sued his school?
He sued the school for publishing the things. He win the money.
Oh, really?
And then he studied in... He's got an entire documentary.
Oh, he's got a documentary now. So Star Wars Kid has a documentary. He sued his school because the school published a video?
It's
Something crazy like that? And then he became a lawyer. Good for him.
But it was bad for his moral.
Of course it was bad for his moral to become a meme. I mean, that's always harsh to become a YouTube celebrity overnight. I know. I became one. Yeah! Midnight Smoke. Speaking of a Cybertruck, I saw one out in the wild while I was out shopping. The Cybertruck is huge. Huge, huge, huge. Yeah, it does look huge, but I think it's actually huge. It does not just look huge. So I don't know. What are the specs for the Cybertruck? Like, how big really is it? Cybertruck.
It's not that it's larger
Spec.
than the Model X.
It's not larger?
But it's longer.
It's longer.
It fits in a garage.
It does fit in a garage? Well, they do kind of have to go with some standards. If not, that wouldn't make any sense, right? So Midnight Smoke, he saw a Cybertruck out in the wild. So we're starting to see them. I mean, there was 4,000 Cybertrucks that were actually released, and that was a few weeks ago. So maybe now there are more. We'll see. We'll see when we see them. And those people are bringing them everywhere because they're really like rock stars right now. I mean, they're more famous than Luke Skywalker for sure. Carl says, 18 years ago, I know I was not watching Star Wars. Well, Star Wars has made a whole bunch of other movies. I mean, 18 years ago, that's probably when they started, like, Jar Jar Binks and all of these other ones. Because they were done kind of in two parts, right? Okay, so we have speeder bikes, land speeders, star fighters. Okay, what are the starfighters? And let's see if we can find a real life implementation for the starfighters. Ploo, 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 ploo. I know, but you can't. Starfighters.
Space, the fire.
Okay, so starfighters are definitely more like planes. Starfighters definitely more like planes, meaning that, well, we do have planes like that. I don't know what type of jet plane would have been maybe inspired by that, but that could make a lot of sense. I only saw the first one and can barely remember it. Okay, so Carl is definitely not a Star Wars fan, like definitely not. He saw only the first one, but is the first one or the first one the third one? This is so complicated. So did you see the first one or the first one? This is like, well, why? Why did they do it like that? I mean, this is crazy. 1977. Okay, so that's actually the third one. That's the third one. It's the first one they released in theaters, but it is the third one. Thank you very much, George Lucas, for teaching us mathematics and like the time frame continuum. It's just so anxiety, right? This is so confusing. Every time you talk about Star Wars, you're like, okay, which one is it? The Empire Strike Back? I don't know which one that is. Is it the third one? No. I had no idea. This is so complicated. So complicated. You're listening to May the Charge Be With You, the podcast about EVs that is called While You Wait for Your EV to Charge. Max Power says we have Siri, Alexa, etc. Computing technology, much more like in Star Wars. Meaning that that all of this technology that you would put, like AI and all that, into, well, Alexa, Siri, and the talking to your car in that sense, would be a bit like in Star Wars. Are we talking the way that, I guess, Luke and R2-D2 talk to each other? You know, because he had to put R2-D2 in front of his ship, because R2-D2 was like his GPS. And he would... And what? A big flashlight. Where'd you put the... Okay. So R2-D2 has served many purposes for Luke Skywalker. The thing is, well, R2-D2 was, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, was really acting as navigation system. Now, it was also knowing everything that happened in, well, the spaceship, meaning that it was kind of like a brain, a bit like an AI, a bit like software, hardware mixed together. So it would connect. In that sense, it would know if something was wrong, and it would inform Luke, and it would kind of take decisions. Now, Han Solo had, well, the furry person. So Han Solo had him.
Started the furry fetishes.
Yeah, probably started the furry fetish. Yeah, that Wookiee. But the thing is, Wookiee are supposedly super, super awesome at mathematics. Now,
What?
yeah. Wookiees are like super intense at mathematics. So that's why Han Solo has the Wookiee, because the Wookiee calculates...
It's a good one.
Oh yeah, because the Wookiee calculates how to go to hyperspeed without hitting a star. So that's the job of the Wookiee. The Wookiees are the very best at mathematics in all the galaxy for some reason.
But they can't speak.
They can't speak. They can only go... Yeah, that thing. And they can't shave either. For some reason, they haven't discovered that. It hasn't happened. You ask the computer to do something for you. Exactly, Max. Exactly. That being said, so Star Wars has this same sci-fi thing where you ask the computer to do something for you. They also had, so there's also C-3PO. Again, I'm talking about the older Star Wars, the first ones, 6 of them, because that's kind of the ones I really appreciated and watched as a child. Then later on, there was the other ones, but it's just, I don't know, I wasn't ready for them, didn't resonate well with me, the new comedy and all that. I just, I don't know, I'm not ready, let's just call it like that. Meaning that, well, you had C-3PO that was sort of like a robot, a legit robot that will help you, a bit like what Elon Musk is trying to do with his robots. And okay, R2-D2, not a useful robot, more like a brain, but not really like arms and things like that. Cannot fold clothes. I don't think he has like a little. It gets out and it grabs something and he puts it back in himself. So he has like one little claw. I think R2-D2, but that's pretty much it. He doesn't have like.
He can fly.
He can fly. It's true. He can fly. Well, maybe if he gets like catapulted from the. Because he's always out in the air. He's like a dog on the spaceship, R2-D2. He's there like woohoo, like all over the place. We are talking about May the Charge Be With You, because it is May the 4th at the time of the recording of this podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Piper, and you're listening to While We Wait, the podcast that brings you futuristic electric EV information. So we are mixing Star Wars with real life and trying to talk about and think about all of these things that Star Wars might have given us for the world we live in right now. Da, 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 da. When I was in school, the trash bins were painted like R2-D2. That's so cute. That's really cute. I don't see any harm in that. I mean, except for R2-D2 eating a lot of trash.
Lucas wanted to have some copyright money.
Yeah, except for Lucas wanted some of that copyright money, and then maybe Disney is like, Yeah, now he's... You send me that money. Where's my trademark? Where's my trademark? Put the trademark on there. So because Max Power started the ball, let's dive into the actual features that are in Star Wars. So we talked about like motorcycles, we talked about all of these big, like, you know, the dogs, the dogs in Star Wars. Those dogs. Yeah, those things.
The little bear?
Oh no, not the bear things. No, like the dogs that actually are tanks and that those things. How are they called? At. Okay, so the at. So you have the at. You have like the speeder bike. So you have a whole bunch of tools and tricks and things that humans can go into to fight. Because it's called Star Wars. It's not called Star Peace. Or else like most of the stuff that happened in there would not happen. Intergalactic fights and all of that. So, some of the features, like Max Power said, AIs, the way we talk to things, has always been something that is present in sci-fi, in Star Wars, in Star Trek, but we're not talking about Star Trek right now. So come back to it. And that being said, there's super cool features that are into these ships, so into these vehicles, into these vessels, into these motorcycles, call them however you want. But hyperspeed is one of them. I mean, hyperspeed is one of the craziest, or like light speed, call it however you want. But the fact that you can go super fast, within like 2 places and get there.
Ludicrous mode.
Exactly. So, what was inspired by that? I mean, definitely on the Tesla part, the ludicrous mode was inspired.
It's Spaceball.
It's Spaceball. Yeah. It's Spaceball. But the thing is, it's still the same thing. It's still like hyperdrive. It's still going light speed in the stars and getting to where you want to go. Elon Musk definitely has inputted a lot of Easter eggs into his Teslas and has put a lot of things into all these pop culture references in that sense. So you have hyperdrive. So what was it called? Like the Falcon? Millennium Falcon? Millennium Falcon? Yeah, it was the hyperdrive. So the Millennium Falcon, that's a mouthful. Yeah, Millennium Falcon. Well, that's the speed of light. So it goes into hyperdrive. It goes into hyperdrive with Han Solo in it, and that's how he gets like away all the time, and he can do all of his bad things. Because Han Solo was not the greatest guy. Yeah, not the greatest guy from everything we've seen. Yes, because Spaceballs is making fun of Star Wars. Yeah, Spaceballs is a parody of Star Wars, pretty much. This is kind of what it is, right? Dave Frank, say happy birthday to your grandma for me. Amazing. I hope she watches. I mean, how old is your grandma? Did she see Star Wars? Is she like that old? Was she there for the first one? Or yeah, how old? How old is your grandma? Yeah, how old was she? Was she like in love with Carrie Fisher? Is that a thing? This is so interesting. Now, light speed and all of these other speeds. So we have ludicrous mode on some of the Tesla, one of the Tesla. Then we have a whole bunch of other features that we would like to implement in our vehicles to be able to go faster. Now, Millennium Falcon, and then guess what Elon Musk did? He did Falcon Heavy for his actual spaceships. Well, kind of rockets. Let's call them rockets. Yeah, maybe one day they'll send humans over there in them. But the Falcon is like one of the rockets that Elon sends up there. Yeah, in the sky. So all of these things that were in sci-fi first, well, then became a reality. I'm not saying that they're. Oh, she's dead.
What, it was his birthday, but she's dead.
But today's my grandma. But she's dead, so it's not her birthday. She's dead. It's over. You don't need to celebrate her birthday anymore. It's fine. Max Power says your Falcon doors. Yeah, exactly. So I have Falcon doors on my Tesla Model X, meaning the doors open up high, just like, well, the wings of a falcon. I guess you could call it like that. And then, well, other features have been implemented, probably because Star Wars has left an impression. So if you're a kid and you grew up with Star Wars and then you became an engineer or you became Elon Musk, well, maybe that just kind of left an imprint big enough on you so that you would want the world to look like Star Wars. That being said, it all started with an idea. I mean, it all started with somebody being like, I would like to fly one day, a bit like Da Vinci with the helicopter. And it all started with someone who said, I would like for us to go to the speed of light. Then with the advancement of science, technology, and all of that, bam! Model X is a X-Fighter. Oh, yeah!
Oh, it's the X-Fighter. Oh, yeah,
What?
X-Wing. It looks like that.
That's why? That's why?
Elon Musk.
Elon, call us. Like if we go X-Fighter. Okay, if we go
X-Wing fighter.
X-Wing
Fighter.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, X-Wing fighter. Well, it's similar. It's a bit more sleek. But it does the same thing. So see, probably the Model X was inspired by Star Wars. I always thought Elon was a Trekkie. This is too bad. It's okay, Elon. We can talk about this later. Call us, please do. Call us. So, okay, of course we can find some similarities that might not be similarities, but we can't help but to say that life imitates arts and arts imitate life, in that sense. So what other features did you find in Star Wars that are in your real life right here, right now? I mean, Star Wars is super, like, it's old now. It's from 1977, meaning that some people had the time to actually grow up, have careers, and build things so they would look like Star Wars things in that sense. And that's why we want to know what is the difference or how it correlates with electric vehicles or the future of vehicles in our world. So the hyperdrive is one of them. Then the efficiency. I mean, okay, so in Star Wars, of course, they need to refuel sometimes and do all of these other weird things. But they also had these crazy powers in Star Wars. They had like the Kyber crystal. Yeah. The Kyber crystal, it actually generates like the energy for the lightsaber. Ooh. And for the Death Star super laser. Imagine this. So some people say, yeah, it's just like lithium-ion battery. But is it? I'm not like an engineer or really into like the chemistry behind batteries and energy.
The lady at the crystal shop there with
Yeah.
the energy.
I would love for the lady to sell me one of those crystals at the crystal shop. I mean, I could definitely use that to power my fridge or something. That'd be amazing.
Charge it.
And yeah, human can charge it. You just need to bury it during a full moon, and then bam, you're good to go. It can charge your Tesla Model X within no time. All this stored energy is like the best you can have ever. I'm Piper, and you're listening to While You Wait, the podcast that entertains and informs. And today we're talking about May the Charge Be With You. It is May the 4th. Star Wars and electric vehicles come together in this amazing podcast that you love to listen to while you're eating, taking a shower, or while you wait for somebody to be ready to go somewhere. Okay, so lightsabers. Yeah, so there's this like crazy technology in these sci-fi movies, just like the lightsaber technology, that makes it possible for so much like destruction and good too. But I mean, it's still a power source, and we're still trying to figure out how to make better batteries for our electric vehicles, but just for everyday life implementation. Batteries that would, again, cost a lot less, that would degrade a lot less, and that would be, well, better for the environment, and that we could recycle. So all of these, well, sci-fi movies often have this kind of correlation with with energy in that sense. I mean, you need to power all of these space fighters. You need to power the Death Star. I mean, you need to power all of these little X-wing fighters. These all need to tank at some point. Now, why aren't they electric vehicles? Why did Star Wars did not think of electric vehicles? Plus, like, we all see an explosion.
we never see put some fuel in any of Star Wars.
I think when Anakin does the race, he kind of fuels it up. But I don't think like when Luke Skywalker is in the thing, I don't think he fuels it up though. But when Anakin does the race, I think there's like a pit stop at one point. But I am unsure of this, so you need to tell me in the live comment section. Come on, people, log into your YouTube account and make sure that you give us your best Star Wars puns and Star Wars memories.
Star Wars 1.
It's in Star Wars 1. Yeah, it's in Star Wars 1, Phantom Menace, where Anakin, I think, does a pit stop when he's doing the race. And he's like so young and so cute. And he's doing the race. And, well, he needs to go and fill up. So why did movies like that were really sci-fi oriented, futuristic, still use gasoline? See how this is funny? It's a bit more like when steampunk was invented, you know? In like maybe the 1920s and all that, they just literally thought that everything was going to be mechanical because they had not invented like Wi-Fi and all of these things. So they made these amazing machines, but out of mechanics because they weren't there yet. So the fact that there is some sort of clean energy or weird energy like the lightsaber energy, that would be the kyber crystal, but all of the vehicles are powered by gas in that sense or some sort of other thing is very interesting. But what are the vehicles powered by in Star Wars? Yeah, give us a shout in there. The episodes came first. Scotty, what do you mean the episodes came first? Like the first episode, Dave Frank is saying, I'm a Jedi. Great. Cool. I mean, everybody wants to be a Jedi while everybody wants to use the Force. To do the dishes. I mean, to not pay for things. I thought you said Heineken. Like, yeah, Anakin Skywalker. Like, Anakin, same, but different. Don't worry about it. Are we in a movie right now? Oh, that is one of the theory of Elon Musk, that we would all be in the Matrix right now. But right now, we're in Star Wars. That is where we're at. So if you love Star Wars, this is definitely the place for you. Oh, yeah. Let's freak out on the weekend edition of While You Wait, the podcast that brings you Star Wars and electric vehicles. That's why you see him. That's why you see him fueling up. Exactly. So all of these Star Wars movies all have like fueling up. Now you even see, I think C-3PO and R2-D2 charge up. Now I guess these ones had batteries. They weren't drinking gasoline. That would have been weird.
Futurama.
Yeah, this was like Bender drinking gasoline. So they plug in. To make sure that they're powered. But then how long does their battery last? That's kind of weird. That's kind of like you never see people go to the washroom in movies. You don't really see them plug that often. So do they have nuclear batteries? I don't know. Probably, because the way technology is.
Why the hell it needs to fuel up?
Exactly.
Something that it drives doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Star Trek makes sense.
Star Trek makes more sense, huh? Way more sense. Bing, 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 bing. Thank you so much for tuning in and for freaking out in the comment section. Yeah. Okay. The role of fiction in shaping today's world. So I've been to the Pop Culture Museum in Seattle, and it was quite interesting to see all of these, well, I guess, memorabilia of, well, sci-fi is pop culture. So, of course, there was a lot of sci-fi, a lot of horror movies. There's a whole horror thing. But there's also Harry Potter. I mean, there's a little bit of everything. That being said, if you're talking about Star Wars, you kind of can go to everything space adventure. So, Alien, Star Trek, then, what's the other one? Not Machina, but the one with the girl that is like it's a robot and all that. Ex Machina? That's a great TV show. I mean, no. No, the TV show. You know that girl in red that comes in and then she controls the guy. Battlestar Galactica. Like all of these spaceship related entertainment. So sci-fi, futuristic, and all that. Well, those have all real implementation in real life, which makes it so cool to talk about. Now, Craig Sullivan says, "Hey Piper, I love that horn." Okay, here, did it just for you, Greg. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have Scotty who says, "But it looks like they went from gas to EV." Think about it. Well, I have no idea if they went from gas to EV in that sense. I mean, did they? Did you see in the latest Star Wars that they went to EV? Because the latest Star Wars, aren't they supposed to be prequels?
We should have been going to Seattle today because there is a special made up fort.
Oh, there's a special made of fort at the Seattle Museum of Pop Culture?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been cool. Okay, next year.
Next year.
Next year for May the 4th, we'll go to the Seattle Pop Culture Museum. So it is May the 4th at the time of the recording of this amazing podcast that brings you electrifying entertainment. That being said, so at the Museum of Pop Culture, there was all of this amazing things, like this amazing memorabilia from all of these movies like Star Wars, Alien, Star Trek, and they're all there. You can see them, you can't really touch them, it depends, and that's has all really affected our life and how everything we see right now is being created. I mean, somebody had this idea and then some kid decided like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make this real, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna like literally do this. So where did it actually make sense to implement that in real life? So we have innovation in the automobile industry. Okay, so let's talk about this. Like all of the things that you see in Star Wars, like Max Power said, this R2-D2 being on the actual shuttle, on the vessel of Luke Skywalker, makes it so that, well, now we really have like an AI brain in our vehicles. We have all this software that knows where we are, how we are. We have sensors, we have alarms, we have lights, all of these things that help us actually drive. I mean, when Luke is kind of like space flying shipping, so it's not driving, it's like flying, but I don't know how you call
no FSD.
But R2-D2 was kind of FSD, right? Because R2-D2 sometimes takes over and Luke is just kind of and then R2-D2 is kind of flying in that way. I mean, so that's kind of FSD.
You just realize that Star Wars is like so wrong. No FSD. They pilot.
I know they pilot,
What?
but they have autopilot, do they? They never have.
A crazy autopilot.
Yeah,
Find this thing.
Yeah, a real autopilot,
Yeah.
a real other pilot. No, they still need to drive. For some reason, they still need to pilot their planes and yeah, they still need to do that.
Star Trek, they don't fight.
No.
They send laser attack. You don't
Yes.
like,
Yeah, in Star Trek, they have the engineers and all that.
the laser will shoot right at the other place.
Yeah,
That's
it's so different. So why? Differently.
are good.
Dave, okay, there's a lot of questions there from Dave. No, I'm not very inclined to that kind of thing, but I mean, I will do that next time I go in Vegas for sure. It's gonna be super fun. Because we're talking about EV, well, if ever they do an EV of that, I have to do it. But this channel is concentrating on electric vehicles, so anything electric I will touch. So maybe more like a taser. That'd be more in my range right now, because you're listening to While You Wait, the podcast hosted by me, Piper. Now, in Star Wars, there's something that you kind of see, kind of don't see, and that has to do with renewable energy. You know, when you see this little Anakin, and he's on Tatooine, and they're kind of harvesting humidity, you know? So in Dune, they're harvesting the spice, which is super cool because it's hallucinogenic and all that. But on Tatooine, they just literally harvest water, because it's like a desert planet and they have these big things that harvest the water. So that being said, in Star Wars, most of the planets have like some problems. Some of the planets have problems because, well, humans and everything else. So it's not like an apocalyptic movie in that sense. But humanity did go elsewhere, and then Tatooine is the place that is not governed by the Empire. So that's why it belongs to like Jabba the Hutt, and that's why, well, well, it kind of is, it doesn't go well, and that's why there's a whole bunch of like mercenaries and people on there. But as far as EV goes and renewable energy, I mean, Star Wars kind of has that component of climate change in it. It has this thing where you have like these big vessels that are taking all of the garbage and are trying to recycle it. Star Trek has that too. I mean, and then there's these planets that are trying to have life on them, even though they're not very much suitable for life, like Tatooine. That's a bit what Elon Musk is probably mostly trying to do with Mars. And so yeah, Mars is like Tatooine, kind of, sorta. I mean, it's I don't know.
Is he gonna rebaptize Mars?
Oh, you think he's gonna rebaptize? Oh, good point. Maybe Elon is gonna try to rebaptize Mars once he conquers it, and then it's not gonna be called Mars. It's gonna be Elon. Or Tatooine. I mean, he can sign a really good deal for trademark with Star Wars Disney, and then they could go together and be like, people are moving to Tatooine.
And I'm gonna change the name.
I'm gonna change the name. I'm gonna rebaptize Mars. Mars is now Tatooine. Because I decide. Because I own the planet.
Like Twitter. I own Twitter.
Just like the planet. Exactly. I own Twitter now, so I decide. So now it's called X. But I love it because I own a Tesla Model X. Meaning that, okay, these planets in Star Wars have a whole bunch of difficulties. I mean, there's some bandits, there's a whole bunch of things that are not going well. But the environment, I mean, they have all of this technology. They can go hyperdrive. They can go from one point to another super fast, but they still can't figure out how to, like, have EVs. FSD and full self-drive. Why don't you have an autopilot that literally does war and destroy the other things? Yeah, like literally, you don't need to actually be behind there and drive.
Send a drone?
Send a drone. Why? You need to go at war. We don't go at war anymore. We send drones, right? That's the whole point.
No.
Yeah. Exactly. Do we need photographers? No, we don't. We have Midjourney. So all of these things are really interesting to look at because we're in 2024 at the time of the recording of this podcast. That is on the channel. 2 Girls, 1 Electric Car. Thank you for tuning in. And Sci's not there today. She's replaced by Giselle. And as you could have heard throughout the podcast, Giselle is a very quiet person. But don't worry, Sci will be back on Monday. So she will be part of our weekly editions. But now we are in the weekend edition. Ooh-hoo. Okay. 56. For future possibilities and challenges for electric vehicles. So what do you see that we could take from Star Wars or ditch because it was not cool from Star Wars and like an input in real life, like except for hyperdrive because that would be great, but we're talking about electric vehicles and the roads. So what do you see in Star Wars that you would want to implement in your vehicle right here, right now? I have to say, I would kind of like it if my vehicle would sort of fly, you know? Just a little raise sometime. I'm not saying flying like flying, but just if you could activate, you know, I could raise the suspension on my Model X. Well, instead of raising the suspension, you could just fly for like a kilometer.
Especially for the red light here in Vancouver.
Yeah, especially for red lights here in Vancouver. You just fly off and go back down. It's true, you're gonna miss the red light. So if I could just fly over the red light, whoop, and go back down, that'd be great. Instead of waiting. Yeah, that's good. So you could fly, but it would be more like a jump. You know, a little jump. But for now, just a little jump.
Just like, you know, chicken.
Just like a chicken. Yeah. So you just go up and back down. Super easy. So that would be a cool implementation for vehicles. Again, we're thinking about this with like our eyes right now and our knowledge right now. Maybe we won't even need that later because all cars are going to be AI powered and everything. Douglas Downless says he wants a Wookiee co-pilot. Well, yeah, because Wookiees are really good at co-piloting. But okay, so maybe full self-drive should be called Wookiee. Hey Elon, maybe full self-drive should be called Wookiee. That'd be a super cool name for an actual self-driving feature, because right now it's called FSD, full self-drive, which is, I mean, it has some appeal, but it's not as cool. Now Scotty Landon says hyperspace would be cool for long trips. Okay, meaning you would just kind of go high and low. They're trying to do that, right, with some of these shuttles. Now they're trying. Well, I'm thinking like Virgin and what's the other one that Amazon has? Amazon also has a sort of like SpaceX. So I think they're trying to.
Blue.
Yeah, Blue something, right? Blue something, but Virgin is something else. Well, same day delivery. So that being said, it's more kind of like planes, but so they would go out of well, I guess not stratosphere, but they would go up, so up that it would be kind of in the first layer of space, because there's a few layers for some reason, and yeah, like zero gravity. So they would go up and down, and that would make the trip way quicker. Not for all trips, because I mean, it depends on where you're at and where you're gonna fall back down. But that being said, you need to go really high, so that takes a while too. But it could potentially take less time to go really high and to drop back at the right place than to go in a plane. So to fly there, that'd be really cool. So that's not hyperspace, but you will still go in space for a very short amount of time and come back down. Now, that would be one way to like implement on travels. Then there's also the Hyperloop. Or there's what Elon is trying to do, and what I guess places like Japan already have the maglev. So all of this like electromagnetic high-speed trains. So free electricity, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's how they power it. I'm Piper, and you're listening to While You Wait, the podcast that talks about May the Fort be with you on this amazing weekend edition. Now, you have the maglev, which is like a train that is electromagnetic, so it's magnets that make it go really, really fast because there's no resistance, so there's no wheels. That is already existing, and I mean, we haven't really seen that in Star Wars for some reason, but they still need to refuel, right? They still need to be powered by something, and then okay, we have going to space in that sense, space exploration, but let's bring it back to our cars, our vehicles. So how would we implement some of the features that we see in Star Wars into our actual electric vehicles? I mean, some of these features are really cool, like having C-3PO next to you, having holograms. Well, that kind of sort of works already. We have AR technologies. Now, maybe soon, instead of having, your dashboard is gonna full self-drive, but you'll be able to, be boxed in. So maybe you can watch a movie in your car within like this kind of Vision Pro sense.
They're gonna sell us extra per month if you're really in a hurry.
Yeah.
To press, hurry button.
Hurry button.
But it's $10 more.
Oh, it's gonna be $10 more if you're really in a hurry. You take the full FSD plus, and that that gets you there way faster. I like that. New York taxi mode. So that would be FSD way faster. I mean, even in Star Wars, there was these like so you had droids, which were robots, which we are getting at. We don't really have many robots right now that are interacting with people. I mean, there's these little Amazon carts that look like baby strollers that deliver things in some places. We have drones, yes, that we do have too, but we don't really have any humanoid type robot. Well, yes, they're being developed right now. I mean, we've seen some, but I've never seen one like in real life, and I've never interacted with one. That being said, that might be like something that's gonna come pretty close, like the C-3PO thing. I'm not gonna say that C-3PO or R2-D2 are gonna be able to drive your car, because that just doesn't make any sense. They don't need to drive your car because we already have full self-drive. So we're just gonna take their brain, put that in the car, and then and leave them home to do the chores like laundry, kitchen, all that. That way it's gonna be way easier, and to help out with things that might be a bit more difficult. Okay, let's just.
Tesla car Falcon incident.
Yeah, that's just bloop. Okay. Yes, Dave, I do read the comments. I'm reading all of you guys' comments in the live comment section. Thank you so much for tuning in. So share your favorite Star Wars innovation. What Star Wars thing would you like to see in real life? I mean, holograms are pretty cool, but quite frankly, we have AR, we have VR. So we're trying to implement this kind of holographic thing. But FaceTime and all that is already there. So do you really need an hologram? Will we get to the hologram phase, or is that kind
of HOV lane?
What?
Go in the HOV lane.
Yeah.
You need an hologram.
Oh, to go in the.
So you're
That's really good. So to go in the HOV lane, you need an hologram to be sitting next to you. That way, they prove that you're two. That's good. That's good.
Like that, it's a little camera.
Yeah.
And we project it.
And we project a person, and then we're good. Then you go in the HOV lane. So this would be real life implementations for holograms. Lightsabers. Okay, so do you really want a lightsaber? I feel like this is going to be way too dangerous. I feel like have you seen this episode of Rick and Morty when he has a lightsaber and then it keeps falling in the earth, and then they need to send like something to grab the lightsaber because it's just falling forever because a lightsaber is like potentially he dropped the lightsaber. Yeah, he dropped the lightsaber, and because so Rick made the lightsaber for Morty, but Morty dropped it. He dropped it, and then it stays open, and it keeps on like burning through Earth. And then the president of the United States, in Rick and Morty, freaks out, and he's like, "This is so dangerous." I would love to have a lightsaber. Okay, so I'm not sure that like a lightsaber is a good idea. Maybe you need a safety button, so when you release the button, it stops. You know?
The guy that did the lightsaber on YouTube channel was really dangerous.
There's a guy that did a lightsaber on his YouTube channel. There's probably more than one. It's a plasma gun. Just like when you do welding and things like that, sometimes you need to cut really big pieces of steel or any type of...
It could pass through steel.
Yeah, you have to pass through steel. You have to pass through people. I mean, it's a lightsaber.
It burns your face.
It has to burn your face. Plasma is really... Plus, you're not supposed to look at it with your eyes.
No.
Especially not with your remaining eyes. Like a plasma gun, you have to have like the shield. Or else you can't look at it. So I don't know what type of like plasma. Yeah, I hate Star Wars. It's so inaccurate. It's so not real life. Come on, people, like so not real life. Why would you think that? Okay, but lightsabers would be great implementation on your car. If ever we're going in a Mad Max situation, but with electric vehicles, I mean, you could have this kind of lightsaber feature that would allow you to transpierce to other cars.
The guy that put some things on their like wheels.
Exactly.
Now it's like
the guys that put something on their wheels, like they put like big like studs on their wheels. That'd be like super cool to have, so that if ever somebody wants to get to the supercharger before you and there's not that much electricity on the grid, you just destroy them. But you're not supposed to destroy your community, people. You're not supposed to. Now, okay, we have Douglas Downstairs who says a force field. Oh, yeah, that would be great to implement. That'd be actually okay. I think we're close to the force field. Let me explain. Because, well, okay, with all of these vehicles like Sentry mode for Tesla and full self-drive, you've got cameras, you have radars, you have sensors. So your car already has all of these features. So meaning, it's not a force field. It's not like you can't penetrate the car. And it's not like you can't get into accidents. But I think that to get a force field, you need to know the surroundings. So you need to have the shield. But before you have the shield, before you create the force field, well, you need to know where you are and what you don't want to let in. So again, not like in Star Wars, like in Star Trek. But they have the force field. And that protects the actual ship. From anything, and then you have like a percentage of how much battery has been drained from the force field. So soon it's gonna break, and it's gonna break there. But to know it's gonna break there, you need the sensors. You need to know where the energy is going and how it's going. So we are kind of close to the force field in that sense.
For the force field, if you're about to kick the car just can move.
Yeah, that's good. So before we implement force field,
the corner, then he applies the force.
Yeah. So if the car has all of these full self-drive features, and even when it's alone and there's nobody in it, meaning that it would be completely autonomous, if somebody's about to kick it or steal it, the car can just roll away. It would just like literally drive away. Now, of course, if it's in a corner stuck somewhere, you know, maybe a whole bunch of other people kind of corner the car, then it would need to have a force field, so some type of, just like electricity. It could just electrify you. It could be like a taser gun.
Imagine if there's good AI.
Yeah, yeah.
You install the car and it runs away.
Oh.
You got feeling.
Oh.
My car's part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone. The car's.
The car's gone. So if you had like this car and it has an AI brain, meaning it starts to be sentient and it has feelings, and then people install the car's just gonna drive away. Come like I will not engage with these bad people, with these really bad people. So before we get a force field, we can literally just use autonomous cars in a way that they would evade possible confrontation, or they would evade possible accidents, which they're already doing. I mean, if you activate full self-drive, if it sees an accident or something, it's going to brake or it's going to move. It doesn't want to actually hit anything else. That's not the point of FSD. The point of FSD is to keep you more secure. So force field will be one thing you really want to be. I think everybody wants a force field. Everybody wants a force field. Yeah, just like in Dune. In Dune, their force field is, I think, the best. They have like this little bracelet. They just click it, and bam, their whole body is in the force field.
Realistic.
Yeah, really hyper realistic. Yeah, compared to Star Wars. Now, any other implementations from Star Wars that you would like to actually put in real life? We also have challenges. Yeah, that we can maybe solve with Star Wars. So challenges towards like sustainable transport, towards how we actually will use our vehicles and things like that. I mean, Star Wars did have a few things that were pretty cool, like space travel, meaning you had to refuel somewhere because you were in space, and then some actual other spaceship could come and refuel you, which we sort of have, but not really. I mean, you could take a jerry can and go refuel somebody, but for electric cars, like, is that kind of a thing that's going to happen later? Are we going to be able to maybe charge while we drive? That was a whole thing, to have like electrified highways for vehicles to charge while they're on the highway in that sense. So more like, it's like a train mixed with a bus, mixed with a vehicle. And then Meka Mark says, we have a force field, it's biohazard defense mode. It's true. So biohazard defense mode on Teslas is an actual air filter or air purification system that is really crazy. I mean, it filters out biohazard, meaning that, well, if you're in the car and you activate it, all the air you're gonna breathe is gonna be super safe for you to breathe. Perfect for British Columbia and wildfires. Welcome to summer. And climate change and everything else that happens right here, right now on our beautiful planet. So biohazard defense mode, it's okay, it does not engage, but it defends. Meaning that, okay, you don't attack, you just defend yourself. In the sense that if somebody sprays something at you, well, you would be safe. Or if there's something in the air, a pollutant, a virus, something like that, you're safe. So that's a pretty good thing. I mean, that's a pretty good thing to have. It is a sort of force field in that sense. Now, it doesn't kind of like act as an armor per se, yes, but it's not gonna, like, you know, because when these ships, they try to get through, they explode. In that sense, that's what the force field does. Like, it's like hitting a wall. Now, when these microbes go there, yes. But we're talking like people on people in that sense. That's quite interesting. So what do you think we could do with the sustainability of transport according to Star Wars? Meaning that, well, it doesn't make sense? Oh. You're done with Star Wars? No more Star Wars? Okay. Star Wars is over. May the Fourth be with you. To all of our super amazing Star Wars, appreciative people. People who have seen all the Star Wars.
I want to poll Star Wars, Star Trek, right?
Oh, okay.
Who are we talking about?
Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll.
There's
Okay.
12 people.
How geek are you?
Yeah, let's
How geek are you? You can't choose both. It's only one. Star Wars or Star Trek. Bam. It's up. We have a poll and it is running. Let's see who in the live comment section at the time of this recording our amazing podcast while you wait for your EV to charge. Who is more of a Star Trek fan and a Star Wars fan? So far, 80% of our fans were on the dark side. Does that mean that they don't actually like Star Wars? I'm on the dark side because I hate it. So maybe it's that. But today is May the 4th. That is why at the time of this recording, we're doing this. Now, if you want more Star Trek, we'll have to do that in another podcast. It's going crazy. It's going crazy. Up, down, up, down. Okay, Sweden has electric roads. What do you mean, Max? Like electric roads? Because, so Vancouver, British Columbia has some sort of electric roads. Buses, some of the buses are electrically powered. So they have these two big antennas that are related to these wires, these really big wires. And so the buses are electric, but they have to be connected at all times or else they just stall. So that happens sometimes.
They're like tramway.
Yeah, they're like tramway. So no tracks, but they have like electric tracks on top. And when they get, sometimes that like cuts or they turn and it doesn't work. So they just, whoop, they stop right there and there. It's kind of funny to see. Okay, we are having a poll. How geek are you? Star Wars versus Star Trek. So fill in that poll. If you're not there during the live recording, make sure you leave a comment. Tell us, do you prefer Star Wars or Star Trek? Tell us why. Okay, tell us why. Is it because the Yokis? Is it Wookiees? Sorry. Yokis, is that the Yuki? It's a mix between Yuki the bear and the Wookiee. Maybe they had some babies at one point. I don't know. It could have happened. I haven't seen the other movies. I don't know what happened at the end. So you need to tell us. Who dies at the end. I mean, there was this big crazy scene of like, Luke kissing his sister. That was weird. That was really weird. I mean, even for the time, that was weird. Then there's Darth Vader, who now you know who he is. But that's a whole thing. I mean, during the recording actually of that scene, nobody else knew. Nobody else was there. There's like nobody else when that happened because Lucas wanted to keep it a secret until it hit the theaters. So it was really hush-hush. He didn't want, that would be the biggest spoiler in history. I mean, definitely would have been the biggest spoiler in history. So they filmed it super, super low people. Like not that many people were there for that scene. Star Trek, it was always on TV one way or another. Okay. Well, that Star Trek actually got canceled, right? And then it came back because some crazy fans were like, we want it back. But the first Star Trek series, the one in the 1960s, it lasted and then it just died. And then people were like, we want it back. And then it kind of became something great. Star Wars was great from the beginning, but that doesn't mean it was great. I mean, I don't know. It depends. They made a franchise out of it. Star Trek has pretty good movies.
It's a good franchise.
It's a good franchise too, but they just didn't make as much Star Trek as they did Star Wars in that sense. Okay, which one makes you more of a geek? Well, okay, this is getting philosophical. Depends on what you think a geek is. I feel like Star Trek has a lot more science in it than Star Wars for a lot of reasons.
Star Wars kid is a geek.
Yeah. Yeah, is the Star Wars kid a geek? Then you decide. Star Trek has a completely different philosophy according to life and everything related to that.
Dork. Star Trek is geek.
Oh, so Star Wars would be
Dork.
geek.
No, Star Wars. No.
Star Wars would be geek. Star Trek would be dork.
No. Star Trek is geek. Geek is more cool than.
Geek is more cool, but dork. But dorks are more clever than geeks.
Yeah, but they don't look good.
No, they don't. They don't look good, but there's still more. So far, our fans with 62%. Oh, this is a tight spot, people. You need to vote. You need to vote right now because I will close this vote. So far, are you a geek? Star Wars has 38% and Star Trek has 62%. So we are over. Let's click this. Bam. Okay, meaning that most of our audience is Star Trek lovers. Oh, may the fourth be with you is not your day.
Because they are kicking your because they they want to be in your favor.
Ah, maybe you want my force to be with you.
Maybe they're cheating.
Yeah, maybe you guys are cheating. Or maybe, just maybe, I mean, Douglas Downless. Kirk is the ultimate Chad. Oh, don't say that to him. He's not gonna be happy. That guy went in space, bro.
It's true.
Yeah, he went in space. Literally went in space. I mean, so this is pretty cool. I like Anakin Skywalker. Well, yeah, this makes sense. The Anakin was pretty okay. Okay, so let's get back to it. Most of my audience likes Star Trek. Is it because I like Star Trek? We don't know. Is it because everything that's been happening is in this podcast has made you not like Star Wars for some reason? That could be a possibility too. I mean, a lot of people so far have realized that Star Wars is not very accurate. For many things, many things related not just to electric vehicle, but just to the science of it all. Why would such a develop in a such long time from now still use gasoline in space? That too. I mean, it's kind of weird in that sense. And then holograms, kind of outdated. Then, well, they have robots and humanoids, but they don't have full self-drive.
Yeah,
They don't have autopilot.
doesn't make sense.
Does not make sense. Okay, they can have robotic arms, which is kind of cool. I mean, we do have that too now. You can, yeah, if you lose a limb, you can have a robotic arm.
But no self-driving.
But no self-driving. This is very disappointing. Okay, I want to talk about Tesla and SpaceX. How Elon Musk is building a galactical empire. Let's talk about it. Do you think that Elon Musk is the next Sith Lord? I mean, is he like Darth Vader? Because he has all of these, the Cybertruck, he has Tesla, he has SpaceX, literally. He does not have an actual lightsaber, but he has a fire gun. I mean, he has a flamethrower. The guy with the Boring Company has a flamethrower.
More effective than a lightsaber for now, because lightsaber doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's true. So more effective than a lightsaber for now, because lightsabers don't exist. So you can literally buy a flamethrower and it works. And well, he wants to go colonize Mars. Like literally. He hasn't made a Death Star yet, because we don't really know if he's on the dark side or like the light side. I'm not so sure about that. But what do you think? Do you think that Elon Musk is really trying to build a galactical empire? And that all of the things he's doing right now is according to that? I mean, that makes sense. He's also thinking about putting a space station sort of on the moon, because to get to Mars you need to kind of retank, you need to refuel, you need to stop somewhere because you need to pee, and then well you go to Mars in that sense. But what are your thoughts on this? Come on, leave a comment, tell me, do you think that Elon Musk is gonna be I don't know, like Princess Leia? Or maybe what's the other name of that other girl? Like because there's like the Empire. So there's in Star Wars there's the Empire, and so there's the girl that controls the Empire. That's the other girl.
The other girl.
The other girl. Yeah, that girl. Yeah.
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, but what's her name in Star Wars? Like she's the Empress, right? She's like, okay, Star Wars. That's how much we love Star Wars here. Star Wars, and then if I do Natalie Portman. Padme. So it's exactly. So Queen Amidala, she kind of controls the Empire, right? She's kind of like Empire princess, right? In that sense. I mean, that being said, maybe Elon Musk is aiming more to be Queen Amidala than he is a Darth Vader. We don't know. I mean, there's a big chance that he would prefer to be like the Empire because, well, he would be against everything, but there's nothing yet. I mean, well, so far he's a good guy, and you need to build the Empire. So he doesn't really have anybody against him. So you built it, and then Darth Vader arrives. But not before you built it, because there's nothing to...
Bill Gates gonna go after him.
Yeah, maybe Bill Gates gonna be like, okay. But that's later. That's much later. Right now, you just need to build the Empire. So I'm feeling maybe Elon Musk is more a Queen Amidala. Yeah, for some reason. I mean, maybe not as cute, but definitely you need to like build it before somebody can come and say, I want it. If you haven't built it, nobody's gonna go against you. Scotty is saying there are the rebels. Who's the rebels? Elon Musk is the rebel?
Yeah, because he's into like Queen Amidala was a rebel.
Yeah, but because she wants like peace and all of that, so she kind of goes against, but for the people.
Exactly. So they're the good guys are the rebels.
The good guys are the rebels in Star Wars. See how confusing it is? Why? Why did you do that, Star Wars? Why did you just do something more simple? It would have been easier. More intelligent, yeah. The rebels are the good guys. Like Han Solo is like, oh, such a good guy. Yeah, but he does bad stuff. It's so confusing. So confusing. Hey, Michael Looters, thanks for dropping by. May the charge be with you. Okay, so what do you think Elon Musk's big plan is? Do you think it correlates with Star Wars? Because somebody's going to need to build space exploration. And I mean, Star Wars does have pretty good space exploration. Star Trek 2, Alien 2, the problem in Alien is, they always get kind of, well, yeah, it doesn't last long. In that sense. So we don't want that to happen. But it is getting there, and from all the people that are alive on the planet right now, Elon is definitely the one. Oh, so Max Power says Elon is Palpatine.
No, Palpatine is bad.
Well, Palpatine kind of flipped the switch at one point, and he went like all dark. He was like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm good. And then he was like, bam, I'm just going to screw everybody over. Yeah. Palpatine's like, this is bad.
He's a bad guy.
He's bad. But that's the thing. Well, how can Elon be Palpatine, Max? There's nobody to fight yet. There's no empire. Mars is like free. Except if there's like weird people on there, but I mean that's a story for another time. So there's nobody who built anything there. When Elon is gonna arrive with his rockets and all of that, I mean you can just go there and literally not genocide anybody, and that's like super fun and super easy. So may the force be with you. May the charge be with you, because our force here on the podcast is called While You Wait is electricity, or anything and everything related to electric vehicles and how we power them. Elon is ET. That makes a lot more sense. So Elon just wants to go back home to Mars, like Superman, or all of these things. I like that one. I like that one a lot better. We talked about electric vehicles in correlation to sci-fi. So how sci-fi can become reality and how reality can become sci-fi in that sense. All of the ideas that are inputted into this world and then are created and are mainstreamed, much like in Star Wars, because we've all seen Star Wars figurines, Baby Yoda, all of these other things, well, they become part of this bigger, way bigger kind of mindset, and then they become part of our collective mind, and people will actually develop things that look exactly like those sci-fi movies. We could talk about the iPad later and Star Trek, and we can talk about how AIs and talking to a spaceship is reality now, and how yes, FSD, so having autopilot is a thing now. We're maybe not yet at hyperspeed and hyperdrive and all of these other things, but we are very, very close to this. Thank you, Walter, for saying that this is a good podcast. You can find all of our podcasts in the podcast playlist on our YouTube channel, Two Girls, One Electric Car. Super easy. It's called While You Wait. Don't forget to share it with a friend and listen to it whenever, wherever. Then, of course, we talked about like the parallels between Star Wars and our modern day vehicles, meaning that like the X-Wing fighter looks a lot like the Tesla Model X. I mean that some literally skidoos, sea-doos, or jet skis, or snowmobiles, or motorcycle look like some of the actual, spaceship or speeder bikes, land speeders, starfighters that were in Star Wars. Some of them did exist at the time of Star Wars, but some of them have actually been rebuilt or changed to fit more of that maybe intergalactic design, just like the Cybertruck, which is called Cybertruck and looks like this kind of polygon thing. After that, we talked about features like the hyperdrive, yes, efficiency, finding new, power. Like in Star Wars, the lightsaber is powered by the kyber crystal. So all of this battery power, how they use energy in Star Wars, and how we can use energy for better batteries, for, well, a more renewable source. That way, well, we breathe cleaner air, and we all want that, because the rest kind of sucks for climate change and everything else. Now, the role of fiction in, well, shaping innovation. That's what exactly we're talking about. All we say in this podcast could be used later on to get to that point where we have everything that we've seen in movies before. I mean, some of you wanted an actual force field. Some of you wanted a whole bunch of other things like that, which is amazing. So, in conclusion, I mean, all that we see in movies and art, well, can become reality. And all these ideas, they come from real humans. Maybe some of them are not engineers. They're just people who make movies. But some engineers might see it. So, when you have a crazy idea, make sure you drop it in the comment section on the YouTube channel so that we can all talk about it. This podcast is broadcasted live at 12 p.m. Vancouver time every single day. Make sure you turn on your notifications so that you don't miss it. I'm Piper, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, yeah. Definitely not gonna watch Star Wars. Definitely did not convince me to watch Star Wars at all. No. I'm going Star Trek all the way. Yeah.